I feel like lives are so touch and go. It's like one second everything's fine, the next second I'm like getting a call from someone or a notification, and we're getting there. We're still getting used to it. But hi, welcome to this live stream. If you're new here, my name is Caitlin, and I am a feminine energy and manifestation coach. And I'm here to teach you how to become your own dream girl, or how to become your own best version of yourself. And on this channel, we talk about all things manifestation, we talk about feminine energy, just leveling up, doing inner work, living the soft life. And so if that sounds like a community that you would be interested in joining, please feel free to click the subscribe button down below. My goal for the coming weeks, maybe even months, is to do 2 live streams a week. They're just a lot easier for me to get out, and I feel like it's great practice for talking live. And I'm putting out so much content on so many platforms. I just don't have the capacity right now to like edit multiple YouTube videos. I'm doing 3 TikToks a day. I'm doing, 2 Instagrams a day. I'm posting on Pinterest, on YouTube Shorts, everywhere. So lives it is. But let me go ahead and get centered here. I feel like I'm not even in the center of the frame. But let's jump into why looks matter. And as someone who, when I was at my absolute lowest, I was 30 pounds heavier, I wasn't taking care of myself, I just really looked pretty much unrecognizable compared to what I look like now, which I feel like really is like a true embodiment of who I am as a person. I remember when I would hear about pretty privilege and all these other things, I would get so triggered. I'd be like, ugh, like this TikTok girl is only famous because she's beautiful and all that stuff. And while that may be true, as I've matured and as time has gone on, I've realized that pretty privilege and looking and like the best version of yourself is something that truly is accessible to anyone. And so while we might not all look like Bella Hadid or Madison Beer or any other, stereotypically, beautiful woman, that doesn't mean that we can't access pretty privilege in our own way. And so that's what I really want I want to encourage you to think about pretty privilege in that regard as we move through this video, because I know that, in every video on pretty privilege that I've seen on social media, there's always people in the comments being like, well, you don't know what it's like to, not be conventionally attractive, and I'm not attractive. And I hear you and I get that. There is definitely a very set standard of beauty in social media today, but that doesn't mean that you can't access your own version of looking like the best version of yourself. And I highly encourage you to invest time and energy into yourself and into your appearance, because it does directly impact the quality of your life. We can't help it. As human beings, we judge people's appearance. It's just something that's psychologically built into our brains, whether it's assessing the creepy guy down the street and crossing the road so you don't have to walk next to him, or it's, seeing someone in a bar that's well put together and choosing to talk to him over someone that's kind of looking like a hot mess. So let's go ahead and get to the video. As always, I have my 800 notes in front of me because I would just not be able to memorize everything that I brain dumped onto these notes here. So first thing we want to talk about is how your looks impact your confidence, your energy, and your sense of self-worth. And this is somewhat self-explanatory. We have all been in that awkward position where you're like running to like, I don't know, my clearest memory is like when I used to do this in college. I would like run to like the food court area like late at night, and I would like, be dressed like an absolute goblin, and then you'd run into like obviously your crush that night, or like you run into your neighbor or someone from like church or school, and you just look like the worst version of yourself, and you just like you immediately like you get that body posture of like, don't look at me, and you like want to hunch your shoulders and all that stuff. So how you look directly impacts how you feel about yourself. And I think what a lot of people get wrong about this is they think that they need to like leave the house dressed to the nines all the time. Not true. Looking like the best version of yourself is incredibly easily accessible. It's all about little tiny level ups. So the version of myself that I present here on the camera today is a culmination of a series of small level ups. So regardless of what you think about my appearance, I really am confident about how I look, but I didn't always look this way. This is a series of really nailing my personal style, finally figuring out the best way to sustainably style my hair amidst, you know, all my workout routines. Finding out what like color palettes suit me best and all that stuff. It's not just like an overnight, like suddenly you're just like this best version of yourself. So investing in your appearance and investing in your looks also is a huge part of being in your feminine energy. And if you've been on any of my social media channels before, you will know my stance on feminine energy. It has completely changed my life. Tapping into my femininity and really embracing the joys of being a feminine essence being has completely changed my relationships. It's leveled up the way other people treat me. It's leveled up the peace that I feel. It's leveled up my quality of life. And part of being in your feminine energy is taking care of yourself and taking care of your appearance. And so like devoting that time, like the act of devoting time to yourself and looking good and feeling good really helps you enter like that beautiful, blissful flow state of being in your feminine energy where you're like naturally very like creative and relaxed and sensual and happy and generous. It's very hard to feel those things. It's very hard to feel like stereotypically like feminine energy traits when you feel like trash, like when you feel like just absolute garbage. And I'm saying this as someone who, like I said, used to weigh 30 pounds heavier. I had the worst, most intense, like painful cystic acne all over my entire face. I couldn't fit into any of my clothes, even though I had this incredible wardrobe. So if you're watching this and you're thinking to yourself, oh, it must be nice for you, I made the conscious decision over the course of years and months to change my appearance. And it has helped me get the dream partner that I want to get. It's definitely helped my social media career, from being honest. You know, people like looking at put together people on the internet. It's helped my confidence levels. It's helped the way that people I know treat me. It's helped the way that strangers treat me. And so let's get into the next version, or the next point on this video. And that is part of the reason why looks matter, or I guess what I want to say is, when I say that looks matter, it's all about becoming the best version of you. And I know that there's like a lot of discourse online, or at least there was a lot more like a couple of months ago, about how everyone looks the same on social media these days. You know, really overfilled lips and like the hair extensions hair look, and everyone's wearing the same outfits and they have the same cheekbones and jawline, and you know what I mean. It's like the Kylie Jenners, and not to hate on her, she's just an incredibly easy target when you're talking about this topic, but like, you know, those like Instagram model, that look. And so when I'm saying level up your appearance, I'm not talking about looking like what is stereotypically popular right now. What I'm talking about specifically is, what is the best version of you? That's what I'm asking you to tap into. I'm not asking you to look like everyone else in your high school. If you're in high school, I'm not asking you to look like everyone in your city or everyone in like the niche culture that you follow on social media. What is the best version of you? And so to relate this back to a personal example, like many other girls, I've been through a very intense style evolution. I went to fashion school, so I studied fashion merchandising in college. And at the time, at the risk of like not being cool anymore, at the time, this was like when Kylie Jenner again, when King Kylie was big. This was when The Life of Pablo just dropped. This was like very much like, what's another example that I could do to illustrate this? Like, do you remember when Balmain and like the Kardashians were like I'm talking all about like the Kardashians and like Kanye West right now, but at the time they were pop culture, like street style and like high fashion meets street style. I think another great example of this is like Supreme, like the skate brand, was doing collaborations with like everyone. So I went to fashion school, of all places, when you like really want to like be with the trend, when all this was going down. And so I think in the back of my mind, I knew I'm more of like a Charlotte York, like girly girl type of person on the inside. But man, I tried so hard to like, you know, I was wearing like cut off Nike tops and like, you know, all of the street style stuff that like, looking back on it, okay, yeah, I kind of fit in, but it was not me being the best version of myself. Like whenever I would enter a space, whether it was a classroom or I would like try to take photos and post on Instagram to like prove that I was like cool and with that style, I just I had such a hard time really feeling like the best version of myself in that style. So what is the best version of your style? You don't have to chase, an aesthetic or a core. What makeup style looks the best on your face? And actually I'm planning on doing like an entire video deep diving specifically into like ways that you can level up. But if I combine that with this video on like why pretty privilege matters, this would be like a 3-hour video. I'm also considering maybe doing like a little freebie guide on like different ways you can level up, because man, I've had the biggest style transformation, like beauty and hair transformation of my life over the last couple of years, and I want all women to feel as at home in their skin and their style as I do. I truly wish that for all women. But what like way of styling your hair type is the best for your hair type? What color season suits you? What, accessories suit you? Do you like to wear heels? Do you hate wearing heels? Like it can be as superficial or as deep as you want it to be, but at the end of the day, whenever you're making a decision about altering yourself or your appearance, I really encourage you to check in and be like, is this authentic to me? Or is it something that I'm just like following because it's a trend? Another example I'll say really quickly is like this dress is something that I bought on Amazon. I think it's still in stock. I'll link it down below if anyone's interested. This is like real Pippi long stocking stuff. But this dress I would not say is like cool or in style right now, but I wear it once a week. I absolutely love it. And I feel so incredibly at home in my style. And I feel so great when I'm wearing it. So that's what I'm arguing towards, is pretty privilege. You should reinvent the wheel or reinvent the idea a little bit of what pretty privilege means to you. And it's all about becoming the best version of yourself. So we're not talking about specific features. We're not saying you have to look a certain way. Be the best version of you, because at the end of the day, investing time and energy into your appearance shows, regardless of what that looks like. I'm not telling you you have to look this way, you have to look that way. Whether you choose to be super businesswoman like, or you choose to be super feminine, or you choose to be really cool street style, or like really avant-garde, like cutting edge, people aren't just they're not gonna get it. You choose to buzz your hair off, you choose to do whatever it is that you choose to do. At the end of the day, what's important is the commitment to yourself and your own image. So if it's all put together and it's cohesive and you've put effort in, that's something that people will find interesting and people will recognize and see that, and it'll show that you're putting effort into your appearance regardless of what the end result is. So the next thing I want to talk about is pretty privilege, and investing energy into your appearance directly affects how other people perceive you, which therefore directly impacts the opportunities that you can have in your life. And so, like I said at the beginning of this video, we're just people, we're just humans, we're just, slightly advanced apes, if you will. We will look at someone and make an assumption about their character, their personality, their values based on their appearance. You cannot argue that. I will say this until I'm blue in the face, whether it's they're wearing a certain political slogan, or they look like they just crawled out of bed, or they're walking in with, Manolos on and a Birkin under their arm. We will make an assumption about their social status, their financial status, their relationship status. We'll make an assumption based on what they look like, period. So why not take that fact, and instead of being, really put off about it and like be really upset about that, why don't we take that and use it to our advantage in order to get more opportunities into our life? Another personal example, my last job before I started working for myself as a life coach is I worked at a bank. And for those who are not familiar, my family lives in a relatively small town in northwest Montana, where dressing up for dinner is like putting on a flannel shirt and jeans. No shade. It's a small mountain town where the weather dictates, your every move. And so when I first started working there, I was coming from, working as a fashion student, or being a fashion student and then living in Southern California. I had quite the wardrobe built up that had absolutely no business being worn in this small mountain town bank in Montana. So for my first year there, I kind of kept it safe, business casual, slacks and loafers and ballet flats. And then my second year, I just remember looking at my closet and being like, the heck what? Like, these clothes deserve to be worn. I spent hard-earned money on these things. I love these things. So I started trickling them into my wardrobe. I started, really, really just expressing myself, honestly, as much as was work appropriate at that bank. And that second year of me being at that bank, customers would stop me in the streets. It was such a small town. And they'd be like, oh, you're the girl who dresses up. Like, or customers would come up to me and be like, no, 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 I want to, like, see Caitlin because she always looks so polished. She looks so put together. And I was establishing relationships that way. Like I said, people would stop me in the street outside of work and recognize me because I was the well-dressed girl from the bank. I had a lot of people, luckily not, like, very little of it was very creepy, but I had like sweet older customers be like, oh, you always dress so pretty. Like, I became known as that girl and people wanted to work with me and they remembered who I was because I was that girl at the bank that was like really, really dressing over the top, like out of the norm for what was like considered normal in that small mountain town. So when you invest in your appearance, you are telling people how to treat you. You are telling people what your value is based on the value that you're putting into yourself. Because if you walk into, a space and you look like a hot mess and everyone else in that space is kind of dressed the same way, subconsciously people are like, ooh, okay, like she's not looking too good. I wonder what's going on there. I don't know if I really trust her the same way I would trust all these other people. And it sucks, but again, you can either mope about it and you can be upset by the way that humans' brains are programmed, or you can tap into it and recognize that putting a little bit of extra effort into your appearance is beneficial. So, like I said, it's part of our human psyche to judge people by our looks. We cannot help it. And it also communicates what's going on with our internal state and what our discipline is like. So, as far as what our internal state is like, we've all been through a bad breakup that makes you look like a hot mess for the next couple of months afterwards. Or on the flip side, when you're really feeling yourself and you're like about to go out on a date or something like that, or you have a job interview and you're feeling really confident, when you reflect that internal state externally, it's like a subconscious form of communication with other people. So let's move on to how looks impact dating and relationships. And ooh, this is a sticky topic. And at the end of the day, personal taste is personal taste. I remember seeing a YouTube video about this actually recently. I must have been some old school like dating show where they had like a bunch of guys and a bunch of girls and they like kind of did 5 to 10 minutes of like speed dating with each other in like a controlled environment. And then later they interviewed every person involved on like who they thought the best looking and most attractive person was. And they all had different answers. And I remember when I first saw that, I was like, wow, that's actually really insightful. Everyone's got different tastes, but as I said before, putting an effort into your personal appearance really reflects your feminine energy. And this is probably going to trigger a couple of people, but I remember reading a study recently about how people subconsciously judge others by their appearance, but men especially have it built into their brains on a chemical level to judge the eye roll, but mateability or breedability of a woman based on her physical appearance. Is her hair long and shiny? Are her cheeks nice and rosy? Is she of a healthy BMI that could carry a child or a pregnancy to term? And again, but at the same time, this is something that is scientifically proven. Men on some level, personal taste aside, are looking for health and vitality in a life partner. So when you invest in your appearance, you are telling men that you're going on dates with that you're valuable. If you show up to a date with, crazy unwashed greasy hair and, you just don't look relatively well kept, a man is not going to treat you or put you in the same category as he would the girl that shows up to the date smelling nice, hair's done, outfits put together. Again, I really hate to say it, but it's reality. And I've even experienced this firsthand. I'm sure you have as well. When you start to get too casual with someone on dates, with a man on dates, they start taking you to more and more casual dates. And they kind of put you into a different category as the woman who shows up to the dates, knowing that she is a high value woman, that she has value to bring to this relationship, and therefore she has high standards. And men will either take that, take that version of the woman who's like showing up as the best version of herself. They'll either take that and be like, ooh, yeah, she's a little bit too maintenance for me. Great, you weeded him out. Or they'll take that and they'll rise to the challenge. as I said before, it communicates what's going on inside your internal health. And I will share another personal story on this. So when my man and I first started dating, actually, let me back up. So my boyfriend right now, he and I have been friends for going on 8 years now. We've known each other for a very, very long time, but we only started seriously romantically dating maybe 9 months ago, 6 to 9 months ago now. The math is not mathing right now. But probably 2 to 3 years ago, he and I went on a date. He was living in Hawaii at the time. I went to Hawaii. I visited him. We went on a date. And back then, I was, again, pretty dressed up. We were going to a brewery. I was wearing, nice tailored shorts, not denim shorts, but like fabric shorts, and a bodysuit, and I had like matching accessories. So in my mind, still casual, but a little bit dressed up for a chill brewery in Kailua, where I'm from. And I remember him being like, "You really like to dress up, huh?" And at the time, he and I were not in a good place. I was not ready to be in a relationship. He was not ready to be in a relationship. We just wanted to reconnect and give it a shot anyway. And I could have taken that two ways. I could have either gotten super triggered by it, which I did in the moment, and I could have changed the way that I show up in my relationship, or I could just keep doing me. So a couple of years pass. He grows a lot as a person. I grow a lot as a person. I get really comfortable with who I am. I continue to present myself as the best version of me. Now, this same exact man, 2 years later, comes home to me every single day and is like, "Oh, you look good. You look good." He loves my dresses. He loves the way that I dress up. He loves taking me out and showing me off. And so me continuing to invest in my personal appearance conveyed the message to him that she is a high value woman. She has high standards, and she's not going to change for anyone. And the last thing that I want to talk about is how investing into your appearance and taking part in pretty privilege in your own special way impacts your manifesting. And this is kind of a brief point, but basically, showing up as the best version of yourself sends very powerful vibrations and sends a signal to the universe that you deserve more. You deserve the best of the best. Not only for the reasons listed, because it will directly impact the opportunities presented to you, because it'll directly impact the relationships you have in your life. It'll impact your confidence and your self-image. But being the best version of you every single day is almost like having like a 3D vision board in a way. Because when you're consistently molding yourself into that version of you that already has the dream wardrobe, has all the time in the world to get ready, that's just on the budget and the scale that you have now, if you are taking all of that and you're investing it into becoming and really presenting yourself as that version of you that has already manifested whatever it is that you want in your life, those things start to show up. Period. Like, I hope that all the examples that I've given so far can kind of like, you can see how those all like add up to this final equation here of like showing up as the best version of you equals manifesting faster. I really try not to repeat points over and over again, but this stuff just like is a no-brainer for me at this point, and I think it is for a lot of women as well. And trust me, if you're watching this video and you don't know where to start, just pick the one thing about your personal appearance that you think to yourself, if I had to change one thing that would have like the biggest impact on how I feel about myself, start there. So bottom line, anyone can have pretty privilege. At the end of the day, it's not about looking a certain way. It's about looking like the best version of you. What your personal style is, what colors suit you, what hair suits you, your healthiest, body weight that feels really, really good to you, that you enjoy being in your body, taking care of yourself, nourishing your body, working on, truly feeling. It's a feeling state. It's about feeling like the best version of you. It impacts your relationships, it impacts the opportunities, it impacts your confidence, and at the end of the day, feeling is the key. It's the key piece of manifesting, feeling good and sending that out into the universe so that you can, again, attract more things that feel good to you. So let's end this off with some journal prompts. I always do journal prompts in my videos. So we have two options here depending on how you took this video. So the first option is, if you're triggered by this idea that looks matter, explore why in your journal. Why does this trigger you? Really get to the root of why this sentiment upsets you. And then if you can get to the root of that, see if you can dismantle it into figuring out, flipping it into, an empowering statement of why investing in yourself and your appearance will feel good. The second option for journal prompt is, how will improving your appearance make you feel? How can you level up your looks from the inside out? What change will feel the best for you right now? So that's every single thing that I have in this video. Thank you so much for following along. If you're interested in more of this like leveling up your life content or feminine energy or being the best version of you, I highly encourage you to follow me over on like my TikTok and or my Instagram, whatever platform feels, the most fun to you. I'm not trying to force this on you. It's supposed to be fun. I'm here to help you. I really want every woman to feel at the end of the day like the best version of themselves, and so that you can call in more opportunities. So thank you so much for anyone that watched this live video. I saw a couple of you guys. We're still working on getting those numbers up, but that's okay. And I will see you guys in a couple of days for another live stream. Thanks. Bye.